All right, here we go. Episode 6 of the Someone Else Show for November 24th, 2024. And we begin this episode with events that have been unfolding this weekend in Canada. This all started on, I believe, Friday night. Now, Canada, as we all know, is our leftist communist neighbor to the north. So it's no surprise that there are plenty of LGBTQ plus pro-Hamas, death to the West, leftist rioters, communists in Canada. And again, starting on Friday night, rioters, or as the left will probably call them, peaceful protesters, as they always do, riots broke out in Montreal. And of course, the usual stuff happened, as we'll see in just a second, right? They go breaking windows in storefronts because nothing says fighting for a cause like looting. But of course, breaking windows is too American and too like English-speaking world, and as we all know, Montreal is French. So we got some elements of French-style rioting in there as well. So we got some flares, we got some burning cars even, right? Go and take a look. So you see the guy breaking the window back there, and then here we have, they're holding up a sign. I think it says block NATO, which I don't even know what that's for. But then we have, lighting a effigy on fire. And we have more fire with a car in a second here. Alright, so there you go. See, there's some French elements in there with all the burning and stuff. All you really need is they need to get some baguettes, and they need to start playing the national anthem and just being like da 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 da, and shout "Vive la France" into the night. But actually, it would be poutine, not baguettes, because it's Canada. But anyways, much like France and other places we've covered before, like the UK. Canada has been very open to like letting in these pro-Palestinian people, right? These migrants entering into their country, very much like in Europe, where you see again places like the UK and the Netherlands. They just had that whole thing in Amsterdam or whatever, where they were over like a soccer match allegedly. It wasn't really about the soccer match, but anyways, like they have these willy-nilly open borders and all these asylum seekers from Muslim countries. They go in there, and then they don't assimilate. Instead, they try and turn wherever it is they have entered into, right, whichever country they've gone to, essentially into another Middle Eastern country. They wanna enshrine Sharia law in these Western countries, and and of course they join forces with the college indoctrinated liberals, of which there are plenty in Canada. Now, these riots specifically seem to be missing the coalition of like gays for Palestine. We didn't see any of that in that footage, but it's probably not much of a stretch to assume that many of those people that were there are actually part of that as well, right? The chickens for KFC kind of thing, or I guess in this case would be potatoes for poutine. Right, all that ironic alliance with pro-Hamasniks. Now, you might be wondering what the response was from government officials in Canada, and obviously you would kind of guess, they would be friendly because they are themselves leftists, but, maybe it would be like the riots in LA or riots in New York, or would it be like the ones in Minnesota, right, in Minneapolis, where Tim Walz' wife famously sat next to an open window and gleefully inhaled the fumes of the burning rubber and burning, I believe she specifically said burning tires. Just soaking that all in. Well, actually, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, had, believe it or not, something more important to do, because one of the holy deities of the left was in town. Of course, we are talking about the one that little girls like Trudeau worship. That would be Taylor Swift. Now, this wasn't in Montreal, right? When I say in town, I don't mean in Montreal specifically. I mean just in Canada. I believe it was in Toronto, which actually isn't that far away. It's like they're like next door neighboring cities basically. So it wasn't really that far away actually. So close enough really. But so that's right. Montreal is going up in flames. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau was basically dancing the night away on top of the smoldering rubble of his country at a Taylor Swift concert. Take a look. So there you see him in the background, hands in the air, going nuts. Here he is doing a little bit of peace sign, whatever. And you can see another thing that he was busy doing throughout the night was you see how his wrists are just covered in like bracelets and stuff. Those are called. No, the mic is cut. Okay, those are called friendship bracelets. And there you see him. He has a whole wrist chock full of them. So he was dancing the night away. Let everything burn. I don't care. Oh, we want to exchange a friendship bracelet. Let's do it. Right. That's politics in Canada. That's how he's getting. That's how he's winning over the young women vote. He's going to Taylor Swift concerts and exchanging friendship bracelets with them. Now, of course, when I refer to Trudeau as a little girl, that's as an insult. It has yet to be confirmed if he actually identifies as a trans teenage girl or not. But regardless, that's what the left leadership looks like, right? Their country is set on fire by terrorists, basically, and this is what they do, right? They go and hang out at Taylor Swift concerts, and they just don't give a damn about anything important. And if you recall, this is the same guy who famously, or I guess infamously, once dressed up in blackface for Halloween. So I'm going to assume that because this was Montreal and it's French, he's going to probably tell them to eat cake or something, and then he's going to go back to doing whatever it is he does, and then at night before he goes to sleep. Because he'll sleep easy, by the way. He won't be bothered by any of this. He's going to go to bed. He's going to pass out, essentially like a light, right? He will be unburdened by what has been, if you will. But right before he passes out, he'll lie there and he'll just be like, "Are you proud of me, Papa?" And of course, I'm referring to, as we all know, his father, Fidel Castro, allegedly. Now, there is actually one more story from these riots I want to briefly touch on. During these events, there was a woman going around wearing one of those black and white checkered pattern scarf-looking things that you see all these pro-Palestinian protesters. They all just seem to have them. That is called a keffiyeh, keffiyeh. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's what it is. Now, this woman was going around, and if it wasn't obvious that these people are the real Nazis, because they go around saying they want death to Israel, death to Jews, kind of like a certain group of people in the 1930s and 40s. These are the same people who do that, but then they go around calling Republicans and people like Trump Nazis. But I've never seen any Israelis or any Jews, any like real faithful Jews. At least we have Bernie Sanders. He's a fraud, or Doug Emhoff fraud, right? Don't count. But anyway, so I've never seen any real Jews or any real Israelis or any Republicans, for that matter, do what this lady was doing, which was going around, and I kid you not, doing the actual Nazi right hand salute and bringing up repeatedly the final solution. Here we go.
Final solution is coming your way. Do you know what the final solution is? We're gonna get you.
Right, and there you see her doing the Nazi salute. Alright, so this woman, her name is Maya Abdullah Hadi. And now what's interesting, beyond the fact that, here we have, an actual Nazi going around doing actual Nazi things in Canada, which is still allegedly a Western country at this point. What's interesting beyond all of that is that apparently her family are the owners of a place called Second Cup Cafe, which would just be a throwaway fact, like, oh my god, they own a cafe. Whoa, what's the big deal? Except for one tiny little detail, just a little asterisk, which is that their cafe is located in, wait for it, Montreal's Jewish General Hospital. Yeah, you heard that correctly. The family of this woman going around doing Nazi salutes and bringing up the final solution over and over again makes their livelihood by owning a cafe in a Jewish hospital in a Western country. Like, the irony is unbelievable. It's almost unfathomable. And then just like another interesting note in that clip, moving on from her, apparently the pro-Palestinian left is also pro-Russia now, because if you look right at the start of that clip, we actually saw a guy stomping out the Israel flag, and then started waving around the Russian flag, and then you could see it behind her as well in the clip. And I don't even know what to make of that, because you always thought that like these people are really like they want full war in Ukraine, like they want complete and total Ukrainian victory in the Ukraine Russia war. So then you see this, and now you're just like, well, wait a minute, what the Which almost makes you think, like, I'm almost convinced that maybe almost none of these people even know what they're doing themselves, like, because you thought they were pro-Ukraine, but then there's the Russian. It's like, do you even know what you're there for, or do you just want to riot because you're bored or something? But of course, maybe we do have the answer to that, because as these things typically go, they ended up on the steps of some sort of government building. Maybe it was a court or something, or maybe it was like the city hall. I don't know. But they ended up at one of those places. They set all their stuff up, and they had people speaking on the steps of that place. And so, maybe from this person we can gather what the actual reasoning for them being there was.
Do not wonder how revolution could possibly be done. Men who have never known a free day, who have lived their entire lives under the thumb of one of the most powerful settler colonies in the world, built paragliders to fly over a wall so high that it blocked out the sun when you stood underneath it. Do not wonder how revolution can be done. We must do it. Death to Canada, death to the United States, and death to Israel.
All right, so there it is, right? It's the usual death to the West type stuff. Who could have seen that coming? And it all really means nothing, right? These people are never actually going to accomplish anything like that. Like she mentions, she referenced the actual attacks on October 7th with the paragliders going down into Israel and stuff like that. And she's like, we have to do that. And it's like, you're never going to do that. You're too entitled and soft and lazy to actually even accomplish that. You're never going to get anything close to that. So you don't have to worry about them actually doing that. But remember, these people can struggle with, if we actually let the police do their, stop these people in these riots, they wouldn't even get past, police with riot shields and tear gas. Now, obviously, the Canadian police were out there doing nothing. But honestly, I would kind of actually like to just at least see these people actually try to like wage some sort of like war or insurrection against like maybe not Canada. Canada might actually fall to these people, but definitely like I want to see them try it like in the U.S. or Israel, because they would get stomped. You just sit there with your popcorn, you just watch these people, like they would try and like actually wage war against the U.S. or Israel or wherever else, and it would be so one-sided. It would be entertaining to watch, to say the least. And then, like, the one final point I have on all of this is for anyone on the left, right? The whole point of this really is the whole point of talking about this and bringing it up is, one, it's terrible, but like forget about the disagreements on policies, right, in politics that we have and all that, right? Forget about all that, right? That's maybe why we don't, like each other in politics, but that's confined to politics, right? We disagree in a debate in politics, and we confine that to the politics. Now, when you do things like you just did in Montreal, where you go around and destroy places and burn things and riot, that's not, that's in the real world. That's not in some sort of chamber of Congress, or in some sort of Senate or whatever. Right? That's not confined to that. You're out there in the real world, doing real world things, causing real world consequences, right? And so everyone's going to actually hate you in the real world with real world hate, right? They're going to see you burning down their cities, breaking into their shops, causing chaos and widespread violence out there, and people are going to hate you for it, right? On a human level, right? This is what you're doing, right? We can all civically disagree in politics and then limit our animosity to each other on just politics, right, within the political arena. But when you go around causing widespread violence and chaos out in the world, people will hate you out in the world. And like, you shouldn't be surprised when you do this stuff, and then you're just like, why does everyone hate us? Why? Well, gee, I don't know. You tell, let's take a look at how you're burning everything down. But anyways, we can move on to some more fun news, and there really is fun news here, and it might be the only actual news ever done that pertains to MSNBC, right? Either them reporting anything or anything being reported about them, because as we all know, MSNBC isn't really a news network; they just pretend to be. And there are. Rumors is not the right word to use, but it's more of a very strong joke that's really floating around about how Elon Musk might just be at it again, right? He bought X, right, and all that, but he might just do it again with MSNBC. So apparently, right, MSNBC, I believe, is owned by Warner Media, which is owned by Time Warner, and it's like a whole parent company. Ladder thing, whatever. But MSNBC is apparently, at least allegedly, going to be up for sale by Warner Media, and allegedly it's for for Elon, it's just a few million. For obviously everyone else, it's like that's a lot, but for Elon, that's like nothing. Right, so not something super expensive for someone like Elon Musk. And in posts on X, he has been seen, he's been joking around about asking how much the price was to buy MSNBC, and then he actually posted one last night where it's like, it's like the meme of trying to avoid temptation of buying MSNBC. Like, he has some, has like the guy there, like, avoiding temptation of the woman there. That's like MSNBC, and he's like right here, to not fall into temptation, right? Like he's really going in on the joke. Like he's really into it, right? And there's all these jokes, but there's also more jokes, where it's like semi-serious, like haha. If he really that would be funny if he does it. Like from various people, like Joe Rogan and Michael Knowles themselves have said, like, if he buys MSNBC, they would love to. To go on there and host a few shows, if he does that, I'd be down. Like, that'd be funny, And then people are suggesting like other people to host shows. Like one other one that I saw, another big one was Musk should bring on Tucker Carlson. And for now, it's all just fun and games. And again, we can't be sure whether or not Musk will or won't actually do it, and we honestly, no one can say. But here's the thing. As funny as that would be, as amazing as that would be, I'm not sure why he would do that or what he would do with it, right? Because with Twitter, right, it was relatively obvious what he would get from it and what he would be able to do, right? It would be, he gets Twitter, he lays off the leftist workers, clears house basically, and then gets rid of the left-leaning bias in the algorithm that's controlling all the feeds on the platform. Reform its structure a bit to try and make it profitable, but mostly, right, since he bought it functionally, right, you use it still functions the same way essentially, just that the internals in the back end have changed. And really the whole thing was that when he got Twitter, he got the IP, the actual app itself, along with its infrastructure and the user base. All right, all things that have to be built up over time, right? Now, that can't be said for MSNBC. Because, first off, there is, effectively speaking, no real audience that watches MSNBC anymore. Like, the ratings report came out or like a week ago or something. It was like 70,000. Whereas you see like all the Fox shows have like 1.5 million or 2 million viewers, right? Whereas the MSNBC shows have like only tens of thousands. So there's not really an audience that would that would come inherently with the platform, right? Like they did with Twitter. Now, but that probably wouldn't actually end up being an issue, because if he does, buy out MSNBC and then put people like Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson on there, presumably then people on the right would flock in droves to then go watch. So he would just, the people would come, right? You build it and the people will come, essentially, right? But that's only one thing, right? Because here's the thing: he doesn't need MSNBC to actually do any of that, right? He doesn't need to buy MSNBC to make like a broadcast production company, TV network, whatever, to do that, right? Because when he would be buying MSNBC, he'd be getting their studios and then their filming and production equipment, and then maybe some of their their offices or whatever, or in maybe the rights to like the TV broadband channel or whatever. I don't know, right? Something like that. But he doesn't need to buy MSNBC to do that. Like, he could just buy all that on his own for much cheaper because he wouldn't be paying for the MSNBC IP and the brand, in addition to things like cameras, like sets, like studios, and all that other jazz, right? Like if he was to buy MSNBC, he would get all that, and then he would get stuff that would add on to the price, like the IP and all that. So why not just go and buy a bunch of cameras and then find a location in some place like tech? Because here's the thing, right? The MSNBC studios are in very left-leaning places like New York, right? Terrible places to do business. And obviously Elon Musk, businessman, knows what he's doing. Would probably prefer not to have his business in a place like New York. He would rather have it be, all right, if he was to do this himself and buy all the camera equipment, all the filming stuff, all the production, build the sets on his own, he could find a location in a much more suitable place like Texas, where he seems to be moving everything like SpaceX and whatnot, or maybe like in a place like Nashville, which is becoming a big hub for conservative media. Right, so the only reason he would actually want to buy MSNBC wouldn't be for the physical assets, right, of the cameras, production equipment, set, whatever, and the locations, the studios. It would be more so just to own the IP and kind of take it away from the left and kind of shut it down, at least as it was, right, and kind of maybe revamp it into a more conservative platform. And really, basically, just to kind of hold it and hold it in front of the left like a keychain almost, right? Like shake in front of them, be like, "Oh, I have your precious NBC now, right?" Like up, like goes for the, "Oh, got your MSNBC," right? And just kind of mock them and laugh in their faces as they cry endlessly into the night. But again, right, given how poorly MSNBC is doing, that might just be worth it from us. Like just the ability to laugh at the left crying away might just be worth it for him, because it's going to be allegedly it's on sale for somewhere in the millions, like maybe in the high tens of millions, or maybe in the low hundreds of millions, which again for him is literally nothing. The guy is a multi-hundred billionaire, right? So if maybe a few hundred million at most, that's nothing for him. So that might literally just be worth it for him to laugh at the left. And then now, if he does do it, I'm just gonna say it right here, right now. I, unlike the hosts of other shows we just mentioned, like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, Michael Knowles, and whoever else, right? That we've mentioned, they have enough success, especially Joe Rogan, right? They have enough success on their own, and also they're already tied up in contracts for those shows that they're already doing and are busy with those shows. But I was going to put my hat in the ring. I'm totally available. I'm just saying. And that's more of a joke, because of course, I started the show like a month ago, and there's really nothing of value for me to offer when it comes to like, hey, you want my show? Like, no, that's just a joke. The more serious offer for me would be like, I'm a graphic designer. I would love to work on graphics packages and like overlays and similar production type stuff. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I would like to work at a company where I can use my skills, and the company shares beliefs that I do. Just saying. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. If everyone can offer to be hosts of the shows, why can't I offer to be part of the production crew? I'm just saying. It's just for the record. And then one final thing. Moving on. There was an election held in India, in the Indian state of, I'm gonna mess this up, take this slowly. Maharashtra. I think that's how you say it. Where there was an election for state assembly, and much like in places like the U.S. and like Argentina, and then in Germany and France, where like the left only stopped the right from getting control of France because they formed like this last-ditch coalition or whatever. India is very much in the movement towards conservatism as well, at least as far as you can tell from this particular election. Because the results of this election were that out of the 288 seats available for this state assembly, the coalition of right-wing parties won out of 288, 234 of the total seats, which is like, the quick math, that's like 70-ish, 75, like maybe even more. I don't know, terrible math. Percent of the, like a very, like, not even just like barely majority, not even like barely super majority. I mean like way past super majority levels. So good for India. Good for India. They're out there. They're not falling apart like they're like the UK or Australia, right? Other former British Empire places. So good for them. Good for them. They're out there. They're out there doing their own thing. And speaking of doing their own thing, you should do your own thing. And if you watch this episode and you like what you're seeing, you consider subscribing and leaving a like and whatnot. And then you'll ring the hit the bell too, because then it'll show you when the next video gets uploaded. And I'll just tell you right now, every Saturday, every Sunday, this is a weekend show, and we'll see you next weekend.